Hi. So today's Friday, it's the 27th, and we did day 2 and 3 of our pilgrimage yesterday. I'm going to do day 4 today, which is actually the third video. So we left the Venice area, had a pretty long drive heading for Pisa, and we wound up spending the day there and learned a lot of things about the Leaning Tower of Pisa, which you've heard about, and some of the nuances of Italy that I was not aware of. For example, it wasn't until fairly recently in history that Italy became a full country. It was different provinces, and they were very much antagonistic to each other. When we got to Pisa, we realized that Pisa was always in battles with Florence and Siena, and there was always this one-upsmanship kind of going on from one province to another. The story of the tower, the Leaning Tower, is that it is actually a bell tower for the cathedral. Now, our tour was of the cathedral, which was, intricate in its magnificence. Just so beautiful. And the beauty of it could only be surpassed with the funniness of the guide to tell us the stories about how they didn't like Florence and Pisa was better than Florence and this and that. And we were going to Florence the next day, so it's kind of interesting to hear that little, get that little behind the scenes personality of what was going on. So if you can imagine, these cathedrals, a lot of them have a baptistry, and it's a different building separate from the cathedral. And the reason for that is because new potential Christians would be baptized before they were brought into the cathedral, because they were not allowed into the cathedral until they were baptized. And so you had the baptistry building back here across from the entranceway to the cathedral, so you could walk from being baptized right into the entrance of the cathedral. Okay, so if you could get this in your mind, that you have this huge cathedral like this, baptistry here. Well, then you have the bell tower for the church, and that was the tower. And when we heard the story that when they built it, they made a mistake and it was leaning, and it was half built. It stayed half built for a long time because nobody wanted to finish it because it was going to be awful, I think they said 100 years or something. I forget what it was. But anyway, long story short, they finally found somebody to come and finish the bell tower, and it's the Leaning Tower of Pisa, and it's a landmark now in Italy, the Leaning Tower. But that's the story behind it. On both sides of the cathedral, there's ground, and then there are places. One is a hospital. This hospital has been in continuous operation as a hospital since 1100. So you can imagine the medical technology that has gone through that place from 1100 to now, and how it's had to be changed and modified and updated, but it's a huge place. It's a huge hospital. And then on the other side of the church is the cemetery. And it was so funny how I tell you our guide was a little kind of funny and kind of said some funny things, and he'd say, yeah, you could get baptized, get to be part of the church, get sick and go to the hospital, and die and go to the cemetery, all within walking distance of each other. And just kind of humorous the way the tour guides kind of personalized the tour. It wasn't just the magnificence of the cathedral. And so when you go on a pilgrimage, it's not just touristy, it's also churchy. And he mentioned some of the church families and different people, and some of the spirituality behind the places. And one of the things was this ongoing a competition between Florence and Pisa, especially with regard to the artistic works, and who would have such artisans as Michelangelo and Da Vinci, do work for them. And it's amazing when you're in a place like that and you realize that you're in cities that have been in continuous operation for thousands of years, and well, I say thousands, 1,500 years. But anyway, so what I'd like to share as I conclude this one is a little personal anecdote, and that is that from the Catholic Church perspective, you see a lot of church history in Italy, and a lot of it is marked by these tremendous cathedrals. And unfortunately, what's happened in Europe is a diminishment of the power and authority of the church over society, and it's really had a pretty poor effect on civilization. A lot of education and science came from the church, and the power of the church to raise money, to invest money in technologies and universities, and to see how it's somewhat collapsed in Europe is sad. But that doesn't diminish the beauty of the effect, the beauty of the buildings and architecture and art and sculptures that remain. I would like to go back, and maybe spend more time in each place so that I don't have a superficial view of the places. We left Pisa for Florence, and they actually, in Italy, it's Firenze, and I'll talk about Florence tomorrow. So if you want to text me or send me private message, feel free to do that. I hope you're enjoying just the overview of our pilgrimage, and if you like it and subscribe, and you'll be notified of the next one. So with that, remember, I love you, God loves you, and take care. Peace.